Possibly no one is prepared to live the last day of his life. However, how many of us have thought more than once about what we would do if we knew what day we're going to die? Sometimes we idealize how we would live this world if we can choose about it. Perhaps with an eternal meeting that unites all those close people that we would like to say goodbye, but not everyone would opt for this possibility. Others would live their last day to the extreme, even carrying out all those things that always scare them. And who has not dreamed of living like a millionaire for a day, since money will not be a problem in the future? Seconds before a crash accident, we can thought, what happens if the streak ends at this moment? What would go through my head if I could count on the fingers of one hand the minute of life I have left? What image do I think would appear when I close my eyes while waiting for the last beat? The truth is that this possibility doesn't exist, and in those cases where it is known that death is close to coming, it is when it is painfully impossible to enjoy in fullness, either due to an advanced illness or a sudden accident that is very hard to recover from. Like any death, it brings with it a lot of pain for those close to you and an irreparable loss for all those who love the deceased. However, there are more massive pains which penetrate the barrier of the close and are due to those losses of public figures which are recognized by the common of the people. And unfortunately, over the years, there have been many names of great athletes who have lost their lives unexpectedly in a traffic accident. Starting with Freddie Rincon as a recent exponent in April 2022, and going through the still uncertain case of Emiliano Sala, we can remember tragedies such as those of Ayrton Senna or the legendary Kobe Bryant himself, who lost his life in 2020 after an accident caused by a failure in his helicopter. And it's impossible to forget which perhaps meant one of the greatest aerial tragedies in the world, and the most painful related to the history of sport. That November 28, 2016 in Colombia, which ended with the lives of 71 people in the Sapaquense delegation. Luckily for everyone, many tragedies or accidents do not end with fatal outcomes. In some cases, even with more luck, there is nothing left but material damage, and that is why in this video we will review 10 soccer players who managed to survive after car accidents. Number 1. Arturo Vidal. During a free afternoon in the concentration of the Chilean team during the Copa America 2015, the Inter of Milan midfielder Arturo Vidal went with his wife to the casino. On his way back, and after drinking some drinks, he was involved in a serious traffic accident with another car in which, luckily, there were no personal injuries. He tested positive for alcohol, which ended up in jail. However, the Chilean team functioned as the host of the event, and clearly this situation was not in the plans. That is why the federation itself was responsible for covering up a situation which could undoubtedly have triggered worse consequences, and just 15 days later, Arturo Vidal himself was raising the first cup in the history with the national team of his country. Number 2. Banega. Known for his enormous way of thinking about each play, it seems that he leaves nothing to chance when it comes to playing football. Off the pitch, however, he doesn't handle himself the same way, and the distraction nearly ended his life. In February 2012, when he was a midfielder for Valencia, he fractured his tibia and fibula at a gas station after forgetting to apply the handbrake and being run over by his own car, an Audi R8. 5 months later, the Ferrari he was driving burned down near the sports city of Valencia in a car accident of which no great detail was known, but it ended with his vehicle totally destroyed. Number 3. Martin Caceres. September of the year 2015. The city of Turin wakes up with the news that came from the Juventus offices, but they would like it to be false. It is that Martin Caceres, a footballer of the Vecchia Signora, would be the protagonist of a black night that would end with his car almost destroyed. The Italian press explains that the Uruguayan gave a positive breathalyzer test for which he was fined and his driving license was also withdrawn. The accident occurred after midnight on Giambone Street in Turin when the Ferrari the Caceres was driving invaded the opposite lane and ended up knocking down the canopy of the bus stop and several cars that were parked nearby. An ambulance went to the scene of the accident, but the player did not suffer any injuries despite the fact that the car suffered significant damage. Number 4. Ricardo Costa. Ricardo Costa, Valencia's Portuguese defender, was unharmed in an accident that occurred in December 2011 when he was leaving the sports city of Paterna after training when he lost control of his car and crashed into a fence. The Portuguese international, who had not been summoned by coach Unai Emery for the league match that Valencia would play that same afternoon in Seville against Betis, had gone that morning to train at the sports city without imagining what would happen a few hours later. Around 1:30 p.m. he left the complex and it was when he suffered the accident in which there were no other people involved, when the car skidded on the gravel, which caused him to lose control of it and crash into a fence. The footballer did not suffer physical damage and kept in perfect physical conditions, although his car has suffered serious damage. Number 5. Neymar. No matter how many assists and technologies supercars have, you always have to respect them, especially when asphalt is wet, snowy, or frozen. But in addition to due respect and the skill needed to be behind the wheel, it is essential that the pilot is 100% focused, since a slight carelessness can end in an unfortunate accident. The above comes to mind after a few years ago, the then Barcelona player Neymar suffered an accident in his Ferrari 458 Spider when he was driving on a road near the Catalan capital. According to the authorities, the Brazilian soccer player lost control of the Italian sports car due to what caused him to hit the retaining wall and remain in contradiction. Luckily, neither Neymar nor anyone else was injured as a result of the impact that damaged the left front part of the Ferrari 458 Spider, which, by the way, he acquired a year ago. Number 6. Marcos Alonso. Another player who tested positive for alcohol was Marcos Alonso, currently a Chelsea player. The athlete, who was driving a BMW in May 2011, was with 4 other people when the vehicle crossed the lane, overturned, and ended up crashing into a wall. One of the occupants of the car died as a result of the accident. For this reason, Marcos Alonso was accused of reckless homicide, a sequel that he will never be able to erase from his mind. Number 7. Guti. One Night of Fury had in Istanbul the former Real Madrid José María Gutiérrez Hernández, better known as Guti, when he was a midfielder for Turkish Beşiktaş. After leaving a bowling alley, he collided with his 4x4 truck and then insulted and attempted to hit several journalists and cameramen. According to the press in that country, the player was drunk and driving in the wrong way. The situation occurred after the victory of his club, one of the most important in Turkey, against Bursaspor in the Super League. According to local media, the breathalyzer test showed a result of 2.71 per thousand, well above what was allowed, when he collided with his truck, a white Range Rover, against a bus, around 4 in the morning. Number 8. Karim Benzema. Real Madrid striker Karim Benzema is known for his addiction to speed. However, not everything lasts in traffic violations, since in 2017 the Frenchman suffered a collision on a Friday afternoon on the M13 highway near the capital as it passed through the municipality of Paracuellos de Jarama. Benzema, who was driving his Audi RS6, collided with another driver who was driving a Nissan brand vehicle, leaving both cars damaged. According to the information, none of those involved suffered personal injuries and both drivers gave 0.0 in the breathalyzer test. It should be noted that just a few hours before Benzema had signed his renewal with Real Madrid, which would keep him linked to the merengue entity until 2021. Number 9. Mario Balotelli. The controversial footballer was then 21 years old when he was driving a Bentley brand car that collided with another car on Medlock Street in central Manchester in the early afternoon. Although the Italian who played for Manchester City didn't suffer any injuries in the crash, one of the passengers in the other vehicle was taken to the hospital as a precaution, and his vehicle was left in a pitiable state after this episode. Number 10. Cristiano Ronaldo. The Portuguese winger Cristiano Ronaldo of Manchester United escaped unharmed from the crash against a protective fence produced when he was driving his Ferrari, which has been totally destroyed. The then winner of the Ballon d'Or collided with the wall when he was driving his vehicle through a tunnel located under the airport of the English city. Neither the player who managed to get out of the car without help, nor any other person have been injured as a result of the collision, which occurred on the Wilmslow Road in January 2009. If you know more football players who survived car crashes, let us know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed watching this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell notifications so you don't miss our future videos.